Hello there, Evie here. Right, I've just recorded this video and I needed to reiterate a point that I don't think I made clearly enough. Before I play the actual video, I need to make this point now. This is me just looking for your opinions, thoughts, perhaps advice on this situation. Disclaimer, I feel I've screwed up somewhere and I feel that I need to do something to correct it, and I'm asking for your opinions on the situation. So that's pretty much it. I feel that I did something wrong. I felt that I made a mistake when I was tired doing testing, basically. So that's pretty much it. So I don't want anyone thinking, oh, well, you know, the cases are something wrong with the cases or how I set it up. No, I think I purely made an administrative error in terms of logging down results. So onto the video. Hello there, Evie here. So I've got a bit of a problem, and I've discovered it when I've been looking at all these thermal testing graphs. It's about 11 o'clock at night at the moment, but I wanted to do this as quickly as possible. Hopefully I'll be able to get this uploaded by maybe about half 12, 1ish maybe. But I have been looking through the thermal testing graphs, while all the thermal testing tables and charts that I've been doing, while testing the CR280 that is coming up in a review video very shortly. Well, in the next week. But looking back at some of the testing graphs, looking at the testing results for this, the Masterbox Pro or Mastercase Pro 3, I'm not very happy with some of the results that I've found. Now, I think I may have a learning difficulty, somewhere related to character recognition, particularly the letters C and G. That becomes a problem for me, apparently. When I'm tired, that becomes more of a problem. When plotting down or writing down the CPU and GPU results, I have a fear that I have accidentally messed up in plotting them down in the correct places, particularly when testing this. Not so much when testing the test bench. I think the test bench results are completely solid. They're exactly as I'd expect them to be. The CR280 results are, you know, pretty easily explainable in terms of how most of them have turned out, but there are some that when I was testing this that I find out now, looking back on them, now I've got a bit of a clearer mind, although it is 11 o'clock at night, that I think I've screwed up. I've been looking over this for a good couple of hours. So let's go through some of the graphs. Let's overlay the all as it comes tests with the maximum test, overlay them together, sort of merge them together so you can get a good idea of the temperature drops and what you should expect. Also overlaying some of the graphs from the same as it comes graphs results. So there's one example with Unigem Heaven superposition. You'd expect a similar layout. There are differences there. So we're going to go over those quickly now, and basically what I want from you is just to watch over this video and just, you know that I have made a mistake somewhere, and I need to make sure that people are aware of it. I might take the video down of showing the results for this purely because I think it would be incorrect for me to leave incorrect data up. But anyway, let me know, something else I'd like, if you're interested in doing this, let me know what you think about the situation, whether I should just completely get rid of or discount the results for the Mastercase Pro 3 and just forget, using the results for that, or whether I should turn the results round, swap the results around as to the way I think they should have been. But yeah, let me know what you think I should do, or whether I should just leave them as they are and presume that I did them correctly. I can't really say I could have done them that badly, but everything's in the realm of possibility when you get home from a long day of work and you have to do like 3 hours of thermal testing. So that's that. Anyway, let's show those graphs now, and we'll have a little discussion, and we'll have a chat at the end. Okay, so first one up, we have the As It Comes Dirt Showdown test, and we're going to compare that with the Maximum Fan Dirt Showdown test. So you can see the Reator CR280. I should have said spoiler alert, but yeah, spoiler alert, we're looking at some of the CR280 results. Nothing too conclusive as to how that case performs, but regular gaming tests we're showing here. So if you pay attention to the bottom right, you can see that the Cooler Master Mastercase Pro 3, it's CPU cooler result in blue, 30.8 degrees, is lower than its GPU result, which is 33.8 degrees. And looking that to the left then, you can see that it's the other way round for the other tests. You can see the Thermaltake Core P3 has a hotter CPU than GPU, and the Riotoro CR280 has a hotter CPU than GPU. Discount the Riotoro CR280, it has completely different setups, completely different style of case, but just take into account mainly the Thermaltake Core P3. That's a pretty accurate assessment or comparison, because the Mastercase Pro 3 is such an open and sort of breathable case with a high ventilation. So if we add in the maximum airflow test, you can see now that the maximum airflow test is actually the way you'd expect it to be. The CPU is hotter than the GPU, but for the as it comes test, the CPU is cooler than the GPU. So that's one thing I think is wrong. I think I need to change the as it comes test so that the CPU is actually measuring at 33.8 degrees and the GPU is 30.8 degrees. That would make more sense to me. So let's move on to the next one. Okay, this next one I'm a little bit more concerned about, a little bit more confused is probably a better way of putting it. So if you check out that the Thermaltake Core P3 test to the left shows the CPU is cooler than the GPU, and that's what you expect as well with the Riotoro CR280, same situation, CPU is cooler than the GPU. Go over to the Mastercase Pro 3 and you can see that the CPU is hotter than the GPU. So if we throw on the maximum test on top of that again, then you can see that the same situation is for the maximum test as well for the Mastercase Pro 3. You can just make out that the CPU has dropped a little bit, and so has the GPU relative to each other. Now, this sort of reinforces the opposite of what I'm thinking, that there's some sort of incorrect setup going on here. But you can see that the Riotoro CR280 is having what you'd expect it to do, both lower by a certain amount, but they don't swap over places. But if we overlay the as it comes superposition test and Unigine Heaven test, which are both from Unigine, so the Unigine Heaven and superposition made by the same people, and they're both graphical based tests, then you can see that it flips around and it's as you'd expect it, and it looks really blurry. I'm sorry, trying to overlay them in a better way is a little bit tricky, but the Cooler Master Mastercase Pro 3 performs as you'd expect in the superposition test, but it doesn't perform as you'd expect in the Heaven test, which again is a graphical based test. You wouldn't expect the CPU to be hotter in that instance than the GPU. So that's that. And finally, the last one, which I think is the only one left that is of concern to me, I think the rest are okay, I've just screwed up on a few of them, is the Rise of the Tomb Raider results. So the As It Comes test shows that the Thermaltake Core P3 has a cooler CPU than GPU. That's what you'd expect. It's a graphical-based test rather than a CPU-based test, although this does have a surprising amount of CPU involved in the Rise of the Tomb Raider test. And then the Riotoro CR280 follows suit, and you'd expect that because CR280's design means the GPU is going to be hotter. We'll look into that when the review comes out. And the Mastercase Pro 3 is the opposite. The CPU is hotter than the GPU. And if you look at the results, it's you could see it's slightly understandable, because you'd have thought, well, if the GPU is getting some great cooling, then it's going to be similar to the great cooling of the test bench. You can see the test bench is at 30.7, and the Mastercase Pro 3 in the As It Comes test is at 30.8. But if we overlay the maximum cooling test, then you can see that there is a very, very marginal improvement on the Cooler Master Mastercase Pro 3 in terms of its GPU, which actually brings the temperature lower than the test bench result, which is a little suspicious, because there's two powerful fans, or well, moderately powerful fans on the graphics card. You wouldn't have thought having some sort of other fan to supply it some power would be required. So having that result show up is a little bit dodgy, but also the CPU has a huge improvement, and that doesn't overtake the testing of the Core P3, which you'd expect. So if you were to swap the results of the As It Comes test around, then it might make a little bit more sense. So yeah, let me know what you think, and we'll have a wrap up in a second actually, but yeah, definitely let me know what you think. I think there's something a little dodgy going on, and I do want to address it somehow, but we'll have to work out the best way of doing that. So yeah, that's pretty much that. Now I'm a little bit weirded out by it. I wouldn't expect myself to. Well, I wasn't expecting to let myself down so much. That's a bit of a hit, but I think that swapping those results around would make quite a lot of sense. You can try and justify either way as well, the graphics card has had its own fan bringing clean air in, but there was also an exhaust fan right next to the CPU cooler, which will also be extracting air from the top of the case and from the front, and it will be dragging air across the CPU cooler and would be extracting the hot air that the CPU cooler is churning out. So yes, I'm going to leave it up to you guys, I think, on this one. It's kind of like asking your parents once you've done something wrong or something. I'm trying to find some sort of analogy. I'm a little shot at the moment, but it's kind of like asking your parents for permission, as it were, to, you know, can I do this? Can I change this? Or can I don't know, like Step Brothers, can I put the bunk bed on top of or the bed on top of the other bed? Anyway, but yeah, let me know what you think. I think I should either change them or just get rid of them entirely. Those are pretty much the only options. I don't think leaving them like that makes a lot of sense to me. I can just keep them on the side, and then when other test results come in for other things, make a judgment call then. I could also retest the thing, but man, that's going to take time. That's going to take probably a good 3 hours or something just to get everything back and built and all tested. I mean, that's not a huge amount of time, but to be honest, when you're working at the end of your working day on this sort of stuff, that's an entire night spent on doing that one case. Then you've got to unpack it and stuff and build it for other builds. So let me know what you think, and I'll make a judgment call based on what you guys think and what my opinions are at some point. So thanks for bearing with me, thanks for checking this out, and I will catch you in another video very shortly. See you guys.